Hello, RS's PhD students at Anadolu University, UZE605, Learning with Technology. So I'm sitting here in a yurt in a provincial park in Canada, thinking about how the abundance of information we have right now changes our relationship to education. I would certainly say that learning has always been an exploratory process. It's always been something that works out better whenever you yourself have a chance to decide what you're doing, whenever you actually have control over that. I think we've had to bureaucratize that process. We've had to set it up so that, we have thousands and millions of people who are teaching, and sort of originally those teachers didn't have a lot of access to materials. They didn't have a lot of access to education. We had a lot of people who were only semi-educated, a couple hundred years ago, semi-educated, who were actually doing that teaching. And I understand how we got to the idea that learning objectives were a good idea. If you measure the success of a learning process by whether or not somebody remembers something, well then it's going to work an awful lot better if you tell them exactly what to remember. So if you say, my learning objective is that you have whatever kind of memory, and I'm going to test that on a test. So at its simplistic level, the most simplistic level, of course, you're going to be able to remember more of that. If you're told exactly what to remember, if you then go through the process of remembering it and somebody tests whether you remembered it, well then yeah, that learning objective is working super, super, super well. But what does that actually do? What's the implication of that? For me, the implication of that is that what you end up doing is teaching an entire generation of people that there are right answers. I mean, there are right answers to some questions. 7 times 7 is 49. But there are right answers to every question. What should we do about climate change? Who should you vote for, right? There's a right answer to that question. And that's sort of the implication of the learning objective, is that somebody knows what you should be learning, somebody knows what you should do, and you just have to find that right somebody. Whereas I think our world is more complex than that. And I think that when you look at the idea of a learning subjective, like somehow I have something where I want you to develop your way towards learning, and I want you to decide what that thing is going to be. I, as your teacher, am going to help you. I'm going to provide you with my experience. I'm going to give you some guidance. I'm going to connect you to some other people. I'm going to show you some stuff other people have done. But at the end of the day, whether I tell you to or not, you're still going to make up your own mind. You're still going to do your own thing. Even if you claim that you're listening to me, or you do follow along, and you say that you remembered a thing, what's happening in your head is still yours anyway. So the question becomes, now that we have access to all this information, now we don't have the restrictions of content that we have whenever we started doing learning objectives, why don't we just all admit that everybody is having a different experience? And cognitive science will tell us right now that everybody has a different experience. You are all having different experiences in this video. Some of you are amazed by my amazing sweater. Some of you are wondering what is going on in the background. And some of you maybe are listening to what I'm saying. We all have those different experiences, and that's normal. Why don't we just accept that that's true and go ahead with the learning process as if each of you is an individual who is deciding your own path regardless of what I do, and then focus all of our time on trying to help people get to where they're trying to get, to allow them to make their own maps rather than us telling them what to do. Because right now, as soon as your class is over, somebody's grabbing onto the Google machine and looking for the next piece of connection. They're going to find that next dot, and it's not going to be the one that you expected. I really think we need to train those skills so that when people do go out wandering around looking for information, or wandering around looking for knowledge, that we've taught them how to make those decisions in the face of uncertainty, to deal with that abundance of information that's coming at them and make good decisions about it. And if we teach that way, if the whole process of teaching takes that uncertainty and that abundance at the core of it, then we're giving them the skills they need to live in the world that they're in today. I hope you guys have a fantastic time. You're super lucky to have Eros as an instructor, and I hope you have a great day.